Looks like we got some people joining us. Numbers are going up. We're in the 50s. Let everyone get joined here. Give everyone a few minutes to get logged in, and then we'll get started. Up to 75 participants. As everyone is getting logged in, I have to share my coffee cup that I'm drinking out of this morning. I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me try to get it up there. It's my DNA coffee mug. It says, "Stop copying me. I meano it." So for all of our biology related students out there, you probably enjoy that. All right, we're up to 80. All right. I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure there'll be more people that are trying to log in and join us. But I just want to start because we got a lot of information to share with you guys today. So let me see if I can move this to my other screen here. All right. Well, welcome to Baylor Premier and welcome to the Department of Biology session. Introduce myself real quick. I'm Dr. Marcy Minke, and I have two roles at Baylor. So I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Biology. My background is mostly in genetics and molecular cell biology. So a lot of the courses that I teach are genetics-based courses. I also, the other half of my job is I serve as an associate dean for undergraduate studies in the College of Arts and Sciences. So wear a couple of different hats there that you might see me if you come to Baylor in those two different roles. I also want to show you guys the names of some of the students that are going to be helping us today. These are our biology student ambassadors, and these are exceptional students, exceptional biology majors that help us with a variety of things. And one of those things that they help us with is recruiting. So they're going to be helping to monitor some of the Q&A sessions and help me with some of those logistics during our time here today. All right. Well, I want to start. I love showing this slide because it really shows the breadth of what our department does. I mean, biology is a huge discipline with so many different areas and subdisciplines and subspecialties. Our Baylor biology motto is understanding our world and healing our world, because we realize that that can be done in so many different ways. And so these are just some pictures of former students and faculty, just to give you an idea of the breadth of biology. So one thing you're going to see in this presentation is a lot of links, but don't worry about capturing those in any way. We actually in the chat have posted a link to a document, a Google document that has all of these links in it. So don't worry about those. You will have access to those. If for some reason you don't see that in the chat or are having trouble with it, just shoot us a message in the Q&A. And so some of that, one of those links takes you to the biology website that just lists a variety of places that your biology degree can take you. And again, looking at the full breadth of biology. We have a large portion of our students that have a pre-health interest. Students who are interested in going to med school, dental school, PA school, PT school, a lot of those types of professional schools. But then we also have students who are interested in all of these other areas of biology, whether that's going on to work in industry or a lab or going on to graduate school. We do. We have students that have focuses in all of these areas. And because of the breadth of biology, we have different concentrations within the biology degree. So the biology degree itself is a BS or Bachelor of Science in Biology. But then students will select different concentrations that will help tailor their courses to what they are interested in doing with their degree. And so let me just give you a quick idea of what those concentrations are. So all entering freshmen will come in, if you're interested in a major in biology, you will declare a BS in biology as your major. And then your freshman year, you will take the freshman biologies, unless you're bringing in credit for those. We realize students, they bring in dual credit, AP credit, those types of things. But once students have completed the freshman sequence, whether that's because they've completed it at Baylor or they have credit, maybe that's AP or IB credit, something like that. Then as sophomores, they will choose a concentration. And these are our 4 different concentrations here. And I will go through each of these in the next several slides. So once students have a C or better in their freshman sequence, that's Bio 1, Bio 2, and the 2 labs that are associated with that, that's when they select a concentration. But we ask our majors to select concentrations before they hit that 60 hours in residence, because we're really trying to keep students on track. Because during the sophomore year, that's when these different concentrations, the coursework begins to diverge a little bit. So we want to make sure students stay on track. So let me go through those concentrations. The first one here is called integrative biology. Designed for students who desire a strong and diverse background in the biological sciences. So some of the coursework in this concentration includes ecology. All of our anatomy and physiology courses are housed within this concentration. Things like climate change biology is also housed within this concentration. Students who are interested in going on to professional schools, pre-health type professional schools for med school, dental school, etc. This is a concentration that they can choose. In fact, for those types of professional schools, all of our concentrations are perfectly appropriate for moving on into those types of programs. Students who specifically want to tailor their integrative biology concentration towards something like ecology, environmental studies, those things, that can be done within this concentration as well. Our second concentration is cell and molecular biology, and just like it sounds, this is tailored for students who really want to study biology at the cellular level, at the molecular level. Courses in this concentration include microbiology, molecular genetics, histology. But again, students who are interested in pursuing professional health-related schools, this is also a perfectly appropriate concentration. We have students pursuing med school that are on all of our types of concentrations. And all of these concentrations will cover the required courses for those professional schools. We also have a concentration, the biology of global health. And this is a relatively new, we've had it for about 4 or 5 years now. And this is designed for students that are interested in things like tropical disease medicine. They're interested in what we call One Health. If you're not familiar with that kind of buzz phrase of One Health, you should go Google it. It's fascinating. It's a relatively new idea within biology, and it's a very interdisciplinary idea. And so I kind of have a figure here to illustrate that when we think about One Health, we're thinking about the health of people, so humans, but also animals and environment, because we know that all of those things work together. And so for students interested in the biology of global health, this is actually a concentration that students have to apply to get into. Some of the courses that will be housed within this concentration are epidemiology, immunology. We have a global health biology course. We have a course in neglected tropical disease. And so again, for students who are interested in this One Health triad, this how all of these things, how ecology impacts human health, how human health impacts the environment, how the environment impacts all of these things. So that's another concentration that our students really enjoy. And then we have a fourth concentration, science education, that's designed for students that are interested in pursuing science education. As a part of this, students take courses within the education department so that they can receive both their BS biology degree, but on top of that, they also receive certification to teach secondary science. So this is great for students interested in teaching both in public and private schools, but even for students that are interested in moving on and teaching science in higher education at colleges and universities, because as a part of that, they get a lot of the coursework in teaching pedagogy. Little side note on this, we also recently have started what we call an MAT program, a Master's of Arts in Teaching. So students can get a Bachelor of Science in Biology, and then with one additional year of coursework, they can get a master's in teaching. And so that's a really neat, streamlined program where in 5 years, students get their bachelor's and their master's. So really neat for students who are interested in pursuing science education. All right, so I know that a lot of you guys are wondering what all does Baylor Biology offer, and obviously in a 20-minute talk, I can't go through all of that, but I just want to show you some of the high points and answer some of the questions that oftentimes we get at these types of events. So one of the questions we get is, tell me about your class sizes. And you can see two pictures here. One picture of a nice small classroom and one picture of a giant classroom. So this classroom right here is our largest classroom in the science building at Baylor. It seats 300 students, but this is the largest one we have. And oftentimes when we do have these large classes, they're not actually filled to the brim like you see with 300 in here in this figure. A lot of times they're closer to 150 or so. But it's not unusual for our freshman biology classes to be around 100 to 150 students. And then as students progress through the biology major into their upper level courses, then they're going to be housed in classrooms that are more like this. So for instance, I teach genetics, which is a sophomore level course that all biology majors have to take, as well as all students who maybe aren't biology, but are pursuing programs that require genetics. And so that's a big class. And so I teach right now, I have my genetics sections have 140 students in them. However, my upper level genetics courses, like my medical genetics class, I teach those in a room like this, and there's only 30 students in that. So we do have what we consider large classes. To us, that's about 150 students. Although at some of the larger state institutions, a large class might really be considered 500 or something, but our upper levels do get much smaller. We have a variety of study abroad programs. I'll just mention a couple here. This is a new one, Baylor Pre-Med in Dublin. So specifically for students pursuing med school that want to travel abroad, can do that in Dublin, where they're taking coursework that applies to medical school, as well as their coursework in their biology degree. We have a Baylor in Brazil. This is actually a neat program that happens over the summer where students can get biology credit. It has a public health focus. So it is health outreach to underserved communities in Brazil. And this is a really neat program because one of our faculty, shown here, Dr. Robert Doyle, goes on that with his wife, who is the head of the public health department here at Baylor. And so that's a really neat program. I know a lot of you guys have questions about what type of research is offered at the undergraduate level. Again, just a reminder that a lot of these links that you're seeing, we have a resource document for you in the chat feature, a link that will give you a Google Doc with all of these links in it. In the biology department, we have a buzzword that we call CURES, which stands for course-based undergraduate research experiences. And so we have a lot of labs that are required for a biology degree that have special sections of them that we call CURES, because they're not the standard lab where a student comes in and has a lab manual, works through the instructions for the day, completes a lab report and turns it in. These are specialized sections that have a research component to them. There is a particular topic that is being studied. And in fact, what we have recently done is all of our Bio 1105 and 1106, those are our freshman labs. Every section of those have been restructured to have a research component to them. So this is a great way for freshmen to get involved in research very, very early on and to gain some of the skills and understanding of the scientific method, particularly for those that want to go on and do research later on. So in addition to those freshman biology courses, some of our upper level courses have CURES as well. These are here's just a couple of additional pictures of some of our freshman CURES that we have. We have some where students do research in our Lake Waco wetlands here. We have some that look at phages, so bacteriophage study here. Our upper level courses, we have a CURE in cell and developmental biology, where they actually use C. elegans, which is a microscopic nematode, and they study different mutations that are induced using CRISPR technology. So that's a research-based course for students. These are pictures from a biological systems research where this group of students actually do research on some of our lake in Waco. And then also in genetics, I've run some CURES in the past as well, where we do genetics research. So in addition to those CURES, we also have independent research experiences. So students, when they're upperclassmen, they can work in an actual lab of some of our research faculty, and they can get course credit for it. That's what these funny numbers here are. They're variable hour research courses. And through all of these experiences, students are presenting their work, sometimes results in publications, as well as being able to go to conferences to present their work. We've got a lot of community outreach. We work within the local schools, particularly our local schools where we have underserved populations. We have a really big focus on environmental health. This is just a picture of a class that went out with their faculty member and cleaned up one of our local rivers. So community outreach is really important to us. There's summer research experiences that students can apply for. This is called True Baylor Transdisciplinary Research Undergraduate Experiences. So lots of opportunities for students to get involved in research. I also want to point out, parents oftentimes want to know what happens if my kid gets there and starts to struggle? Like what, does Baylor focus on student success? And I would say absolutely. There are so many different support programs. Our entry-level courses have supplemental instruction. A lot of them even have learning assistants that work in the classroom with these students. We have a huge office of academic support that houses things like the tutoring center, that houses things like how to get your study schedule straightened out. What are some study tips and all of those types of things that can help students to be successful. So that was a very, very, very quick look at the biology department. Feel free to contact us if you have questions. In that resource document that we've posted in the chat, it has information on how to contact us. So that was a really quick 20 minutes. We only have 10 minutes left. And so some of you have probably put some questions in the Q&A. Our biology student ambassadors have been monitoring that, and some of those they're going to, they've probably answered for you, but I'm going to kind of open it up to any questions that maybe our ambassadors have flagged that might be a good one for me to answer. So quiz me, ambassadors. What are some of our questions there?
Looks like we're still waiting on, still waiting on some to come in.
Awesome. Excellent. So we got a quiet group today. Is that what you're telling me, Kyle?
Oh, I think they're rolling in right now.
They're
Hold
right
on.
now. They were waiting. I was just they were so engaged in my talk that they were being good students and waiting until the appropriate time, right?
Let's see, Dr. Mickey, one student is asking if you could elaborate more on the MAT program.
Oh, yeah. So the Master of Arts in Teaching, if you wanted to look a little more detail, our undergraduate catalogs can be found on the Baylor website. You can just search for undergraduate catalog and look at the most recent catalog, and you can find more details about what the courses are. But let me just give you a brief overview. The way that works is students will get a biology degree. So they will choose one of the 4 concentrations. A lot of them choose the science ed concentration, but sometimes they'll choose like biology of global health and then tack on the MAT to that. That's perfectly appropriate as well. So the way that works is by the time they get to their senior year, they're going to start taking master's level courses in education. And so that's kind of how that double dip works. So oftentimes those types of programs there's a 4-year bachelor's and then a 2-year master's program. But this is kind of a fast track way to do it. And so that 4th year, some of the courses that they're taking in biology, we actually have housed in biology a couple of courses on teaching biology and science ed. Those will then count as master's level courses, and then they will take some courses over in the School of Ed that will also be applying to the master's. And then they get their bachelor's at that point. But then they only have 1 more year of master's level work before they get that Master of Arts in Teaching. As a part of that, they will have all the necessary certifications in order to teach. And some of these students go on to teach in K through 12. Others go on to teach in community colleges, and others will then go on and pursue PhD work to teach at the university level.
Okay, amazing. And then another question is, they're asking, what if you don't have much research experience? What is the process of guiding students through research that have not had experience during high school?
Yeah, so, I'll just give you an idea, just me, myself, many, many, many years ago, when I went into my undergraduate career, I had no research experience because back in my day, that wasn't something that was easy for students to get in high school. And I came from a very small rural town, very small school where those types of things just weren't available. And that's the case for many of our students that come in. They have never done a single thing of research, and that's perfectly fine. That's what our freshman biology labs are geared for, is for students who have never had any research experience, to allow them to start to see what that process looks like. How do we use the scientific method to form hypotheses, to ask questions, to do experimental design, and those types of things. So it is not a problem whatsoever if you have no research experience at all. There are ways for you to grow in that throughout your time at Baylor.
Okay, wow, they're sending a lot of questions. Another question is, I'm still not completely sure biology is my thing, but what advice in general would you give to help me figure out what will really be exciting for me?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the good thing is, if you come in and you're like, well, I know I like science, I want to do something in science, what do I pick for my major? And the answer is, you don't have to have all of that figured out when you set foot on our campus. And the reason is because regardless of if you are a biology major, a chemistry major, biochemistry major, psychology, neuroscience, health science studies, all of these have the same science coursework that's required the first year. So you will take Bio 1 in the lab, Chemistry 1 in the lab, probably also calculus. That's the standard for any student that majors in science. And so that's great, because if you came in and you were a biology major, you're taking those courses, you're like, I really enjoyed my chemistry coursework more, then you can change your major and you're not behind, because in the freshman year, all of those freshman biologies and chemistries and maths and so forth are the same for all of those majors.
Great. And then it says, they're asking about minors. How do I minor in something while taking biology?
Yeah. So at Baylor, we a couple of years back, we completely revised our core curriculum within the College of Arts and Sciences. And that was fantastic because what it did is it actually shrunk down the number of core courses required for students. And because of that, it provided more room for students to add minors, secondary majors, double majors. I mean, we have students to do all kinds of things with majors and minors. And that is not a problem at all because you only have about 50 hours of core curriculum work. And then for a particular major, it's usually about 30 additional hours. So when you start doing the math and you need 124 hours to graduate, that leaves a lot of room for those types of things. And I always tell students, you don't have to have all that figured out when you set foot on the campus. Students add minors and secondary majors even during their sophomore year, once they figure out what they love and what they want to add on. And you know, sometimes those majors and minors relate to one another. Sometimes it'll be a biology major with a biochem minor. But we also have students who do, you know, a science major and then minor in something in the business school. So all of those things are options. There's so much flexibility for our students.
All right, y'all. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank y'all so much for coming in. I hope that you enjoy the rest of Premier. Thank you so much to our biology department. If y'all have any additional questions, you can always go to baylor.edu/visit. We'd be so happy to answer those for today. There is going to be a survey that we are going to post in the chat. If y'all would like to go ahead and answer those questions, that way our biology department can get more information from y'all, just drop that in. But I hope you enjoyed the rest of your sessions. Thank y'all so much again. Have a wonderful day and stick 'em Bears.
Stick 'em Bears.